6, a helping hand with your land.
We do 2 or 3 YouTube videos a week and have noticed that 91% of you who are watching our videos are not subscribed to our channel. We're going to do a lot of videos on product, on tips and ownership information for owning your piece of equipment. And I think we have a lot of value we can bring you. We've done over 200 YouTube videos already, and we plan to keep on doing more. YouTube overall is a more pleasing place to watch videos and digest content if you subscribe to a handful of channels. So there's a subscribe button up there if you don't mind clicking it. Follow along to what we're doing here. I think you'll probably get some value out of it. We're not just pumping videos out for no reason. We're actually trying to give a lot of good ownership information that can make owning a piece of equipment a lot more pleasurable for you. Today we're going to do a short video on exactly how to put an implement onto your 3-point hitch. We forget sometimes that most of our new tractor buyers are actually first-time equipment owners and operators. So while this is a very basic thing for many of us, it's a new process for many of you. So we're going to take a minute here, walk you through some of the basic steps, show you some of the frustration points when it comes to putting implements on the back of your tractor. So there's 2 different types of 3-point hitch arms. There's either deluxe or standard arms. The tractor that I'm using here today is a standard arm tractor and is going to require a little bit more wiggling around than what a deluxe arm tractor does. The deluxe versions are going to have a little plate that you push down on top of the arm. When you push that down, it allows the 3-point arm to come out about 2 or 3 inches or so, making it a little bit more forgiving when you back up to your implement and giving you that ability to kind of play that piece front and back in order to get the hole to line up. But we're going to do the more challenging one here for you today. The first thing we're going to do is drop the arms down on the 3-point hitch. You're going to find your 3-point hitch control lever, push that forward in order to let the arms drop down. Now, if you find you push that front and the arms don't drop, down between your legs is a 3-point hitch restriction valve. We have a separate video on that valve and exactly how it works. But if your hitch doesn't move down, you're going to turn that dial and open it up to allow the arms to come down. Once they've come down, back up to your implement as close as what you're able to get, and we're going to line up the holes, put some pins in place, and lift this implement up, and away we go. When you put these arms on, sometimes your implement is going to be flexible and able to move and help accommodate the tractor, and sometimes it's going to be rigid in place. It really depends on how that implement is made to function behind your tractor. On this finish mower here, these arms can move a little bit, which makes it a lot easier for me to be able to pull the 3-point arm out and get the pin through the hole. Most of the time though, these pins tend to be rigid. You'll have a pin sticking out instead of this yoke, at which point you usually try to line these arms up on the pin and then oftentimes take your boot and literally kick the arm over top of the pin to get it in place. These little pins are used on 3-point hitches in order to pin your things into place. They're typically just going to slide through the hole and then flip shut again. You do want to watch these things. Some of the ones that are heavier gauge, where this wire is thicker, have a really hard spring action on them. And when you pop them open, they're often apt to bust up your knuckles. So just watch these guys that you're popping them on and off, as they can jump with times that you don't expect them to. Usually once I've done my lower links, I'm going to put my Pto shaft on. Now, the very first time you put a Pto shaft on, you want to make sure that this thing has a little bit of ability to expand and contract as the 3-point hitch goes up and down. If you have one of these where the shaft is too long, you're apt to be able to raise your 3-point up and have the shaft bind and bend. So you want to make sure it's able to move freely the first time that you put it on your machine. When you put one of these on, what you're going to do is take this collar, pull the collar back, which releases some locking balls, and then line it up on the shaft, slide it over to the top, and then pull it back to make sure it's locked into place. Now when I put this on, I can turn the shaft on the tractor side to get it to mate with the implement. Sometimes too, on smaller implements, you're able to rotate the shaft as well, so one or the other should be able to turn. You can get these things started and get the keying lined up before you have to pull this back. So once you get it lined up, it'll get in place, and then you can't go on the whole way until you pull the locking collar and then wiggle this guy front. Once that's locked forward and you've heard it click, take the shaft and give it a good pull backwards to make sure that it is securely locked in place. You should find some small chains on your tractor's Pto shaft. Those chains are made to be locked off to an implement somewhere, and the reason why they're there is to keep the plastic shields on the outside of your Pto shaft from spinning around with the shaft itself. The spinning motion of that shaft is just another place that you could get something caught or tangled and wrapped up in your tractor's driveline. So you want to be really conscious of that. If you have those safety chains there, just lock them off somewhere on the tractor or the implement side. Once you've done the 2 lower links, you then have the top link up here at the top of the tractor. Now you can see when I hold these up, I got about a 5-inch gap here that I need to clear. In order to extend that out, you're gonna hold the end of the top link here and start spinning this guy, and it's gonna screw from both ends, allowing this to extend out to meet the implement. Once you've got it out to the right length, there's a jam nut up here on the tractor side. You're going to turn the jam nut and just tighten it up against the top link adjustment bracket here to make sure the thing doesn't spin and adjust while you're operating. So depending on what implement you have behind your tractor, you may want to make some fine adjustments to its position. Using the top link here, by opening this guy up and down, you're going to be able to adjust your implement in this direction here by changing how close it is to the top of the tractor. And with a side link over here on the side, you can adjust its level from left to right. If this seems intimidating to you, there are quick hitch systems available that make this a little bit easier. Those quick hitches are going to go into the 3-point arms themselves and then are going to be able to come in underneath the implement and lift up and catch it. Now, one of the areas that's a little messy is because most implements don't strictly follow the SAE standard for how the dimensions of a 3-point hitch are supposed to be built. So maybe about half or so of implements are going to work properly with those quick hitch systems. Lampride identifies theirs by putting quick hitch stickers on theirs so that you can look and see exactly which ones are going to work properly with those quick hitches. Using one of these quick hitches is really easy. On Lampride's patented QH05, you can take the side levers here and push them forward to open up the locking mechanism down here at the bottom, or some other quick hitch designs, you'll have a lever up here on the top. Both of those are going to open up the bottom link down here in order to catch the bottom of your implement. Then on your top link, you're simply going to lift up and watch for this piece to catch right here. On some of the heavier duty 3-point quick hitch designs, this piece can be adjustable up or down to fit a little bit wider range of implements, but this hitch right here is a little bit less expensive because it's locked into that SAE standard. So if you want to use one of these quick hitches to put an implement on your machine, you're going to take the hitch on your tractor, not holding it, come over to your implement, go underneath of its 3-point arms, and then lift up. And when you do that, once you have the thing up off the ground, take the levers here and release them in order to lock them in place. So while these quick hitches are an absolute improvement compared to using your boot to kick the arms over top of the pins, they are unfortunately not quite perfect. You know, the industry hasn't followed the SAE standard strictly enough to say that these are going to fit all the time. That's particularly the case if you start buying no-name implements from overseas and those kinds of things. So there is a little bit of positive reason to stay within one brand family for your implements, as there's a lot better chance that the dimensions are going to be the same and these 3-point quick hitches are an option. So you're going to find on most of the implements for your tractors, for say your loaders and your backhoes and those sorts of things, typically when you need to take things on and off, you're going to do just wiggling around and sliding pins into place and those kinds of things. You don't ever really have to break out the boot or the hammer in order to pound stuff into place. Unfortunately, dimensions on 3-point hitches aren't quite that way. These things often take a little bit of muscling around to get the implements on. It's one place on your tractor that you shouldn't be afraid of using some force to pound stuff into place. So if you're working on your machine, you have any parts or service needs, give us a call at Messick's. We're glad to help. And we have a great sales department and a group of very knowledgeable guys too that can help you through purchasing a new machine also. So give us a call, 800-222-3373, or online at messicks.com.